So I'm going to explain the structure of the tiered democratic system, or the TDG. Imagine that we have a city of about 100,000 people, and it's divided up into about 500 neighborhoods, and about equal number of people in each neighborhood here. And I've got 8 of these neighborhoods listed below. So once a year, at somewhere in the neighborhood, most likely a person's house will be, or a community center, something that the neighbors are going to elect one of their fellow residents to become a neighborhood representative. And so they will kind of meet, cast their votes, maybe have a coffee, a little visiting or whatever, and at the end of the polling station day, their votes will be counted and the person with the most votes wins. Now we're going to talk about these 8 neighborhoods a little bit here. This first one called Abby. There's a person in there, her name is Eleanor. And she's the kind of person that's a real social butterfly. She seems to know a lot of people. She helps them out whenever she can. She's always got a nice friendly face and very, very thoughtful about that kind of person. And so when it comes for the election for the neighborhood of Abby, most of the people that are living in Abby, they really like Eleanor, and they will vote for her to become their neighborhood representative. So Eleanor gets elected. Now, the dynamics in the next neighborhood is a little bit different. You actually have 3 people that are pretty good being a part of the neighborhood. So you got Peter, you got Paul, and we got Mary. Okay, and in this neighborhood here, these 3 people, they're all quite well known. They're all well respected, and everyone likes them. And they're all involved in the community, doing various community things. And so at the end of the day, most of the votes in Beeville are going to be cast to one of these 3 people. And let's just say that Peter is the one who makes it up. Okay, so Peter is the one who gets the most votes, and he becomes a neighborhood representative for the next year. Now, it should be understood here is that we have 3 plausible candidates for this position. And the TDG doesn't always elect the best person, but it always elects from among the best. That's an important thing to realize about the TDG, is that it's not really important whether Peter, Paul, or Mary got into the position, but one of them did, and one of them is going to serve their neighborhood very well. Now, we go to our next neighborhood here, and this is TDG, and this is kind of a dysfunctional neighborhood. The neighbors don't know each other very well. They don't trust each other. They, everyone kind of just closes the door and, really got no ambition at all to get anything done. They don't care about this TDG very much. And so actually, when it comes to their election day, is that very few people vote. And so let's just say this fellow here, Herman, actually wins the vote, and he's only got 4 votes. He's got the most votes of anyone else. Not many people voted. He's got 4 votes. Not an overwhelming endorsement, but he still becomes a neighborhood representative for the year. And Herman really doesn't want the job. So he just kind of sits on it for a year. And those people that cast their votes towards Herman, they're probably looking at the next election a year down the road and says, well, I can't give my votes to Herman. I'm going to give it to someone else. And so they're going to, maybe instead of running out Herman, they're going to vote for Wilma. So Wilma wins the neighborhood representative for this Skidiji job. She wasn't expecting it at all. She's kind of thinking, well, should I do something? Should I just go like Herman? She says, no, I'll try and see if I can do something here and be part of the community. And so Wilma's looking around, and she's seeing that some of the playground equipment in her neighborhood is getting a little run down, and there's nobody from the city coming to fix it. And so she says, well, maybe that's something I can do. So she gets a little petition ready, and she starts knocking on the doors and saying, I'm the neighborhood representative, and I was wondering if you could sign this petition to help get our playground equipment repaired. And when Wilma takes on that responsibility, that's the process of starting your own community in this Skidiji neighborhood. Now, I've also got another 5 neighborhoods there. Each neighborhood is going to have its own little peculiarities. It's going to have its own dynamics. And each one of them is also going to elect their representative. And it's probably not going to be kind of the same way as these 3 were, but it's going to, they're going to create their own group of people here. And so Basically, each of these neighborhoods has got one representative. So now the neighborhood elections have cast these people as neighborhood representatives. And so what are these 8 people are going to do with themselves? Well, one of the things that they are going to do is they're going to meet in what is called their district. Okay? And so they're going to meet and they're discuss things that are in with their district. Maybe they've got some kind of authority to do some things with their district, such as supplying funds to sports teams for kids, or assisting with old people or whatever, and they're going to disperse their funds as they see fit. But they're also going to be whatever it takes in these meetings to discuss what's relevant to their district. Now, when they're at these meetings, okay, one of the things that they're going to do for next is that once a year, 6 months after the neighborhood representatives, is they're going to vote for a district representative. Okay, and so they've been working with each other for some time now. Some of them might be elected for several years, and some of them might be new, but they're starting to get an idea of which one among them is actually best for the next level of governance. So they will be casting their vote towards the next district representative. And so these 8 people are going to make the vote, and the one that makes the district representative gets the most votes gets to be the district representative. Will it be Eleanor? Eleanor's got a lot of popularity in her neighborhood, but does she really have the skills and attributes necessary to make it up to the next level? Maybe, maybe not. What about Peter? Peter is also quite well regarded in his neighborhood, and but he's also there's some other people that could also take his job. So maybe he might be moved up to the next one. Or get someone like Wilma, who's actually had to take a dysfunctional neighborhood and start turning into a bit of a community. And maybe she's the one to do that. But anyway, all 8 of these people is that they are going to basically vote and find out who should be elected to the district. Okay, now our entire city will be kind of arranged like this, is that we've got all neighborhoods elected as under one district. Okay. In that previous shot that I had was that we had eight neighborhoods. I'm only showing 3 right now. And they have decided they're going to put Peter up to a higher level onto the district representative. And this is also happening all throughout the city as well, too. There'll be neighborhoods under this district, some neighborhoods under this district, some neighborhoods under that district. And it could be 3, it could be 8, it could be 12. We don't know. Each TDG is going to design itself as to what it needs into its various levels. So now we have Peter was elected, so now he's serving at the highest representative, and so now what's Peter going to do with his time? Okay, he's going to start meeting with these other representatives, and let's call this one. We'll call this one Dave for one, and this one is going to be Gail, and this is one's going to be Veronica. Okay, and there may be more districts in this particular TDG. We don't know yet. But they're gonna probably have a higher responsibility in governance, okay, because they're representing a lot more people, and they're also going to probably given more things to do with governments, and so they might have a little bit budget that they can implement some of their projects as well within their district and within the various neighborhoods in those districts, and so they're going to be deciding where to spend their resources, and as they're meeting, okay. They are also going to find out something about each other, and they're determining the attributes of who is going to get to the next highest tier. And so once a year, probably at the same time as the neighborhood representatives, these people are going to vote which ones amongst themselves is going to be voted up to the next level. Okay, so now we're seeing what I'm calling the quadrant tier. The 3rd tier of this particular TDG, and the district levels. This might be representing 10 to 20% of the city at this point. This one particular district. You got these 4 district representatives, and they have decided that Veronica is the one that's going to be up to the next level. So she gets voted up to the quadrant level. So she's representing a good part of the city, and so she's moving up. And so again, responsibilities increase, the time commitment increases. At this point, it's probably no longer just a volunteer job. There should probably be some pay that goes with being a quadrant representative. Again, each TDG will decide for itself what it needs to do. And these quadrants, there should be some more quadrants over there, but I just can't show it on this board here very well. So just imagine that this is being replicated about 4 times, and then we're going to get to the next level as well. Okay, now we're getting to the last tier, or 4-tier imaginary system here. And if you recall correctly, is that the neighborhoods, they elected each neighborhood representative. Those neighborhood representatives were meeting with each other throughout the year, and then they elected a district representative. And these district representatives at this level, they're meeting several times with each other for years, so they're finding out about who's got the good character, who's got the capacity for governance. And of course, they're meeting and they're electing their representative at the quadrant level, and the quadrant level will eventually be electing people from itself to form some kind of council. And this council would probably be parallel to what many municipal jurisdictions currently have with their city council or their town council or whatever. Now, the big difference between that kind of municipal election and the TDG is that these people here, all the people at the neighborhood level who really aren't elected, they're not voting directly for anyone on council. They are entrusting their vote for someone at their neighborhood level, and allowing that neighborhood level to kind of watch and observe and see who's passed on, who's worthy of advancing up the tiers. Okay, so that's kind of important. And for a lot of people, the democracy, well, they say, well, that's not fair. It should be the people at the bottom decide who are the people at the top, not this filtering process. And the reason why the TDG does this is that the people at the bottom really don't know the people that are offering themselves for candidacy to become an elected official. They know very little about them. Okay, but they do know something about someone in their neighborhood that's worthy of their vote. Okay, and so they can make a very wise decision at this neighborhood level. But if they're to elect directly for one of the very few candidates for at the council, they've really got no idea of what these candidates are really like. And so the neighbors themselves are basically passing on that responsibility to the elected representatives. Now, another interesting feature about the TDG is that in order for someone to get to this high-level council, they're going to have to spend probably several years at the neighborhood representative, several years at the district representative, and each time they're earning the trust and respect from their fellow elected representatives to be advanced up, several years at the quadrant level, and then finally they make it up to the council. So by the time they get it up to the council, they will have a lot of experience in being part of a government, and not only that, they will also have earned a lot of trust and respect to actually be put in that position. One thing the people in the TG have to learn is learn how to vote more wisely. And they should be looking at someone in their neighborhood who has good character and who has capacity for governance. Now, those two terms are kind of subjective, and so everyone kind of defines it in their own way. Like I say, I like to see people, how they work in a committee, and that's who I would define as when having good character and good governance. But everyone's going to kind of define it as their own way. But there are also people that you shouldn't vote for. And one of the type of people that you should vote for is the people that seem to really want the job really bad. So if you're in a particular neighborhood and you see someone, one of your neighbors who really wants this job, saying, vote for me, vote for me, vote for me, and even if you think that person is a good person to vote for a neighborhood, you probably should go find somebody else to vote for him. Or likewise, if you see a bunch of people carrying signs in your neighborhood saying, vote for Jack, vote for Jack, vote for Jack, you probably shouldn't vote for Jack. Cast your vote for someone else that seems to be of good character and capacity for governance. And what we want to do is we really want to remove this culture of gathering power and influence and turning it as an elected representative of one of service to the community, and one of that the person has had to earn the trust and respect all the way up this ladder here. And that's what's going to make the TDG very important. And I would say that these annual elections at the neighborhood level, they're probably more important than the election of the President of the United States every 4 years, because these people have the ability to see someone who has got good character and who has some capacity for governance.